Good morning. All right, so today we have 2021 goal setting, share my goals for 2021, along with some lessons learned in 2020. And before that, I gotta get to a nice 60-minute easy ride on Zwift and maybe even share some of my thoughts during that ride. Let's get rolling. Got this ride, knock this out of the way for today, and got some nutrition with me. So 2 scoops of S Fuels Train Fruit Punch. S Fuels give me a new sponsor and team next year. I help you burn fat. And then if I get hungry, S Fuels Endurance Bar. 2021 goals. Got to take a step back and look at 2020 a little bit. It's a weird year where there was very few races. I mean, I got pretty lucky and was able to do one, but for most people, no races really happened. At least no A races. But I still think it's good to kind of reflect on the year. And because it was so different, like, what are the lessons that we can learn from that? So the point of this video is not for me to talk about my goals in a sense that like I'm bragging and I'm awesome and you should follow my story because my goals are so big and blah blah blah. But really just to like kind of share the thoughts that I have around the goals and thoughts that I have about 2020, 2021, because like I said, weird year. So like the frame of mind to set a goal for a year where we have no idea what's going to happen is just kind of bizarre. So hopefully like this is kind of helping me get some of my thoughts out there, and then hopefully you can take like some little nugget away from it in general, so that you can, you know, maybe use that as a way to help set your goals. Lesson number 1 for 2020, and I want to pull with me into 2021, is to work in projects. We're not all that amazing at like focusing for long periods of time. It's good to have a vision, and when I say long period of time, like years, months and years. So it's good to have a vision of like where you want to be in 5 years or whatever. But like 24 weeks is kind of the max. And so for the most part, like races serve as really good projects where we work on something for a short period of time and then those kind of build towards that long-term vision. Well, in a year where there weren't any races, those projects kind of disappeared. So this year, focusing on those projects. Like for example, right now, I am focusing on building up my marathon for like the next 10 weeks or so. And that will be like my first project of the year. And I think the lesson really for 2020, from 2020, was that the projects need to be independent of the race themselves. Related, but independent. So, for example, for myself, marathon project. And then after that ends, it'll be a great time for me to dive back into the pool, literally, and work on the swim. My legs will need a rest, but hopefully I'll just be able to roll that same focus into something else. And triathlon's a great sport for that because there are 3 different things to work on, and really 4 if you want to include nutrition, and 5 if you want to include lifestyle and sleep and all that. So working in smaller chunks of time where you're diving into one specific thing and not forgetting the other ones, but like focused heavily on those specific aspects. Lesson number 2 is to think about the value. So where are you getting the value? What value are you getting out of your training, out of racing? There's a positive psychology guy by the name of Martin Seligman who talks about this PERMA model of happiness. And he's got an acronym, but the A stands for achievement or accomplishment, one of the two. Like, I think it's silly and that we'd be lying to ourselves to say that we don't derive some of our satisfaction from training and racing from accomplishments. Like, I know that's extrinsic motivation, and for whatever reason we think that's bad, but like that is a natural part of training and racing. When looking back at 2020, like when there wasn't, that didn't exist, taking a step back, saying, okay, where really does that value come from? Part of its achievement, part of its accomplishment, but are there other pieces to it? Where was I? The value is like two-pronged for me, other than the achievement aspect of it. So the 2 things that I really found that I got out of training this year were experiences and enjoyment. I took a while to just kind of let training subside and focus on other aspects of my life, like the business and all that. Eventually, like, something was missing, and it felt like even though there wasn't any races, like training still offers that value. So at least for me. So the experiences, like going out and just doing like an epic ride with your friends. Like for my bachelor party, we did like a 40-mile mountain bike ride. At some point, you know, I'm going 40 miles an hour down a hill, down a gravel road. That's like scary and exhilarating, and other people probably get that other ways, jumping out of planes or whatever, but like for me, there's something fun about going that fast. And then even just like being in nature and going out, doing a nice long run as the sun's coming up. Like, I just enjoy that kind of stuff. Like, that is something that brings peace and quiet and endorphins into my soul, and yeah. So taking that and pulling that into 2021, like, what does that look like? Well, races definitely offer awesome experiences, but taking that experience idea and pulling it into training and making certain training rides or runs or whatever, just like certain aspects of training, and trying to make them somewhat epic and awesome without having to like go and completely bury yourself in like a 200-mile bike ride. Like, there's one guy that biked from Des Moines area up to Minnesota on gravel roads. That was like an awesome idea. A little over 100 miles, and just out there with a couple training partners, bring some food along the way, hopefully have a sag wagon, you know, bring some snacks, and even once you get up to Minnesota, like, hopefully Mall Millennia is open and you can go do something and get a ride back instead of having a bike back. But You know, just certain aspects like that, like trying to make certain training more experience-based and not less about like the training benefit. Like the two aren't mutually exclusive. So trying to do fun stuff like that, because who knows, you know, like we might not get races. So planning those experiences and having those experiences in the back of our mind, that we have something else to look forward to. And the enjoyment part, like for me, I basically didn't do any swimming from June until now. I think a sub lesson in here is that fitness is fitness. And if you're working really hard on the bike, or working really hard on the run, or working really hard on the swim, like that training will carry over in some way, shape, or form. Like I had the best swim of my life at Challenge Daytona, and I'd barely been swimming, and my arms are a little bit more tired than usual, but like my aerobic capacity was capable of handling that. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, and the fact that like I just enjoyed going out and running, purely just running. Like the best training plan is the one that you really look forward to doing. So know that you can have some low-hanging fruit, and like I will start swimming because there are aspects of it that I do like, but focusing on the stuff that you really, you know, like where does that value come from in your training, and know that like if you get value out of it, it doesn't have to be purely performance or purely improvement based. So for me, like I really enjoy one aspect of swimming that I do really enjoy. It's just kind of like zoning out and using it as like a moving meditation. And so getting back to that, like that's the same feeling that I get in like a long run as just doing like a 5K swim. Is that gonna make me a world-class swimmer? Not really, but is it something that I enjoy, and is it helping me prepare for an Ironman? Yeah. So know that like your training plan can be really, really specific to you. Third lesson learned from 2020 is to really just focus on the process. And this is something that I definitely struggle with, because I'm a very forward thinker. Like any training, any personality type test that I take, like strength finders for example, my like top 5 strengths are all like, basically I live with my head in the clouds. Like futuristic, forward thinking, planning. Like I live in the future, which is great for someone that writes training plans that are geared towards building towards the future. But like as an athlete, you gotta be where you're at. So focusing on the process, and I really liked, it wasn't, I guess, a lesson that I learned, but I really liked how Chris Nikic, first person with Down syndrome to do an Ironman, like focused on getting 1% better every day. And for me, this is going to be like a little bit more global of a goal, because the previous two, like pretty triathlon specific or endurance sport specific, but like there's just aspects of goals that like are hard to have from either a business standpoint in this current climate or a relationship standpoint. Like there's no ranking of husbands. Maybe there is, but like there's no rankings of husbands where I can go out and be like, hey, I'm gonna be in the top 5 best husbands in the Des Moines area. Like that doesn't exist, you know? So taking this 1% better idea every day and saying, okay, I might not know if I'm the best husband in the world, but today I can get a little bit better. I can focus on that process. I can be more present. I can do something nice for Mako. And applying that to like business, and applying that to my other relationships, friends, family, coaching. Some of this stuff, they're metrics, but the metrics don't mean anything if you're not improving. Focusing on that process, like what is that process, and dialing into that every single day. Starting my day off by asking that question of how can I get 1% better today. Cool, so just finished up the ride, got some lunch in. Definitely one thing, it's more of like a resolution than a goal, but making my own food. Right now I've been getting some like awesome meals, low carb, keto type meals from this local place, Fit Farm Nutrition. Just super fantastic meals. But trying to be a little bit more intentional maybe about my fueling, about my food. I really like cooking, so I don't know why I don't do it more often. But yeah, sometimes it's just nice to have like that easy go-to that you know is gonna fuel you right. But anyways, so catching up on some stuff on the old computer, the interwebs, and got some of these sweet mugs to deliver Ironworks. Woo! Got some of those to hand out and deliver just as a thank you for all the people that like helped make this year possible. Definitely not the most ideal year to start a business, especially one that like revolves around coaching big groups of people and having large group classes and coaching people for events that get canceled. But like have an awesome tribe, awesome community around me. So just a little thank you for those people that made this year possible. All right, I got to get some stuff done around the gym. Definitely best part about being a super small business owner is that you're the CEO, and then you're also the janitor. So, gotta sweep, mop, vacuum, all that jazz. So, gonna try to finish this up real quick. I do have regular goals, like those are just the thoughts that I have around the goals. But then I do have just kind of 5 like major things that I want to do this year, and I tried to make them independent of like if races are going to happen. They will help me if races happen, but I can do them regardless. So first kind of project that I'm working on is that marathon. I'm gonna try to either do it solo. I have signed up for a race, but who knows if it'll happen. Even if it doesn't happen, just gonna go out there and run 26.2 miles. So marathon, goal number 1, marathon in under 2.5 hours. Goal number 2 is to be able to ride for 5 hours at 260 watts. That will put me in at least the shape that I want to be in for Lake Placid. So if I can do that, then I can ride at the power I want to ride at Lake Placid. And then goal number 3, similar to that, where I want to be able to ride for 2 hours at 280 to 290 watts. Similar idea there. Want to be able to tackle all the 70.3s that I have coming up. Similar power output, maybe a little bit longer, and then be able to run a hard half marathon after that. So those are 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 and 5 are a little bit different. 4 is to post every single day on Instagram, which kind of sounds like silly and shallow, but like it is something that is going to force me out of my comfort zone. Like I don't love, contrary to making YouTube videos might make it seem, like I don't love putting myself out there and have a lot of kind of internal chatter that goes on. And so just like forcing myself to say, screw it, you have to do it every single day. Putting myself out there and doing that, I mean, who knows? Who knows what'll happen with it, but just kind of a fun challenge for myself. And then number 5, most important one, is to drop a YouTube video every single week. So at least 52 videos this next year. Goal really is to blow that out of the water and have like a gazillion. Without them just being like a 5-second video. Like have some overarching story, but lots of recipes. Just want to try to capture all the fun, exciting, awesome, epic adventures of this year, even if that's just in the kitchen making some silly recipes. So yeah, that is hopefully what 2021 is going to look like, thoughts around it, and I am excited. Anyways, I'd love to know what your goals are for 2021, and if any of what I just rambled on about for 30 minutes made any sense or connected with you at all. So leave that below in the comments. Like and subscribe. That would be super helpful. See you at least next Friday.